Hey, not much. You recover from your illness? Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, good, good, good. Glad to hear it. How's everything else going with you? Uh, nice. That's always a good thing. I'm rocking and rolling. I tweaked my back about a week and a half ago at the gym, and I'm okay now. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting up there now. I can't be fucking around with these young kids lifting all this heavy weight and shit. So time to sit my ass down. Yes, sir. And welcome back to another fun-filled, action-packed episode of the Morning Star Show featuring Super Slash 75. I'm your gracious and ever humble host, Super Slash 75. I want to give a shout out to Riding the Boards. Secondly, I want to give a shout out to Boss, aka the slave driver, aka Cindy, the producer extraordinaire. Also, please feel free to donate any amounts, which go to website and airtime. It's labor of love, but we still live in a costly world. If you appreciate the free content, please help us to keep the message uncensored and free. You can always donate through PayPal at onthewakeupradio@gmail.com. You can always visit us on www.onthewakeupradio.com. We're on SoundCloud, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and now iHeartRadio for replays in case you missed some of your favorite shows. The call-in number is always is 646-547-1305. You can find me on YouTube under Super Slide 75, and the backup channel is called Heavily Flawed Individual. Also, merchandise is always available at teespring.com/Super Slide 75. Now, I want to give a shout out to my new favorite show, which I reluctantly wanted to was going to get into this when it first came out, which is The Watchmen. The Watchmen is my new favorite show on HBO. Shout out to Damon Lindelof. He's one of the head writers on that show. If at this point you don't know what's going on with the TV show, I highly implore you have to watch the movie. It will fill in a lot of pieces, a lot of puzzles for you as I explain what was going on in the episode. So the TV series takes place 30 years after the movie. Okay. So let's get into the episode 3. A lot of high science in this one. A lot of high science. So let's get into it. So Lori Black calls Doc. Am I cutting that? Oh, that's not good. Let's try this. Is that better? Blah 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 la 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 la. Does that sound cool? Oh shit. Uh. All right. Okay. So we're good. I think we're good. All right. Oh, also, okay. If you also, I'm currently on my demonetized channel. If you follow me on YouTube, which is a Super Slide 75. So You want me to call back and try it again? Yeah, let's do a break. I'll restart my phone just to make sure it's not my phone, and then I'll call you right back. Okay. Okay, everybody in YouTube land, I'm gonna restart my phone because they're messing with the interference and the signal. So so I'm gonna wait until I call back in to start my breakdown of the Watchmen. But if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know what the fuck you've been waiting for. Zack Snyder, probably regarded as the best comic book movie adaptation so far, is The Watchmen. So if I'm saying what I'm saying is foreign to you, or it's like I'm talking in a third language, you would have to go watch the movie to kind of fill in the pieces. So let's try this again. And then also, I will at some point address the YK Osiris situation, even though at this point, what needs to be said, I personally don't care. Y'all care more than I do about what the boy said and what he's going through. What, what, what have we not seen this before? That's just my take on it. But it is what it is. Y'all must really care about this YK Osiris kid. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay, and we're back on the Wake Up Radio. This is the Morning Star Show featuring Super Slot 75. Technical difficulties as always, but we still keep it pushing. All right. Watchmen episode 3. Lori Black calls Dr. Manhattan and tells him a joke. The joke goes, there's a guy who's a bricklayer and he's good because he's a master of his craft. And every brick has its place. The dad has a daughter that he wants to teach his craft to because it's all about legacy. Dad builds a barbecue pit to the exact specifications and mathematical equations, but there's a brick left, and the dad flips out and begins to destroy the pit. Daughter says, "Stop, I have an idea," and throws the brick in the air. Now, and before she can finish the joke, Lori messes up. She forgets the rest of the joke. Okay. Now we cut into a setup. So Lori, same Lori here, goes to rob a bank. Right? She pulls out the firearm. She's like, yeah. So here comes this vigilante guy. Like, he's called the Revenger. Right? He comes in to stop the bank robbery, but it's a setup. Everyone's in the bank is a federal agent because it's against the law to become a vigilante. Now, mind you, once again, this is 30 years after the Watchmen movie. Okay, so so once everyone reveals themselves to be federal agents, the Revenger tries to run out of the bank. Laurie shoots him in the back 3 times. He's hospitalized, taken to the hospital, and arrested. Meanwhile, people outside are protesting. They're upset, and because he was doing what he thought was a good thing. Now, Lori goes home. Now, midway through this episode, it will be revealed who she is. I already knew who she was, but okay. So she whips out a glove and she takes a mouse to feed her pet owl. Okay, but you didn't know that until later on in the episode. So she feeds her pet owl with the one glove. All right, that's key too. All right. So then Senator Kane comes to visit Lori. Senator Kane looks at what the cage. He's like, well, can I look at it? She's like, yeah, and it's a owl, a legit owl. And he says, what's its name? And she says, who? He says, no, what's its name? And she says, who? Now, for those that watched the movie The Watchmen, the tagline was, "Who watches The Watchmen?" Okay, that's a reference to the movie. All right. So then Senator Kane wants to send Lori to Tulsa to investigate Chief Judd's murder. All right. So she goes down there, but she's like, well, what do I get out of it? So Senator Kane's like, look, go down there, crack this case. I'm trying to bid. I'm trying to bid for president. Okay. He says, once presidents can pardon anybody, including I can free your owl too. Now, for those that didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, 30 years moving forward, Night Owl, he's in prison for vigilantism. Okay. Night Owl, remember him and Silk Spectre had a relationship. Okay. After Dr. Manhattan had went to Mars and left Lori, right? But you have to watch the movie to see what the fuck I'm talking about. Because a lot of people are like, what is he talking about? Watch the movie and this will make sense. Okay. So he gave her and made a deal with her. If I get the presidency, I'll free him. And you can be with your guy. Just go bust this case for me. Okay, so she goes to Tulsa. They're in a meeting. The DOPA. The DOPA is called the Defense of Police Act. It's cops in masks. That's the bill that they presented that had the cops in masks. Crime was reduced 80% in Tulsa. And then so then the second joke. God tells Owl Guy, I gave you a gift. What did you do with your gift? I gave you a gift to make fantastic weapons and inventions. Okay. So the owl says, well, I made a flying ship and weapons and cool suits so I can bring peace to the city. The god asks, well, how many people did you kill? This is crazy. Owl Guy gets offended and says, well, I didn't take a life. God says, well, sorry, Owl Guy, your heart's in the right place, but you're just too soft. God snaps his fingers, sends Owl Guy to hell. That's in reference to Night Owl being sent to prison. Okay. Now, Lori goes into a briefing with the federal agents. They're discussing the 7th Cavalry. The 7th Cavalry began in response to the Racial Victims Act. So that is basically any attacks on black people in Tulsa getting their reparations. It's illegal. They established this act. They're playing a lot on the heavy racial tones in this series. If you're a regular black person, you are going to be like in your feelings watching this series. Maybe it's not best you watch this series. Okay. So then during the slide presentation, an excerpt from Rorschach's diary is displayed. They make a reference to a white knight, and the DOPA Act is mentioned as well. Blake is running point and asks to take Petey with her to Tulsa. So it's just two of them. Okay. Petey is a young agent. He has a PhD in history, so he knows all about the Watchmen, all the police and riots and all that good stuff. So he's a student of history. All right. As they're flying into Tulsa, they see the millennial clock, and at the groundbreaking of the millennial clock, Lady True, she had said, "Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." All right. Lady True is the woman who bought Adrian Veidt's company. Okay. Adrian Veidt is Ozymandias, the smartest man on the planet. Okay. We'll get to him in a minute. All right. So then Petey asks, well, did you know Ozymandias well? Petey had wrote a thesis on the 1977 police strike in which Blake was Silver Spectre. Okay. And her ex was Dr. Manhattan, so forth and so forth. All right. The next joke, there's a lot of cutscenes, refers to Ozymandias. God asks, what did you do with that big brain of yours? It's the smarty pants. He says, oh crap. What do you want? What do you want to do? Still bad? La la la. Sound something. How I sound? Still sound bad? They're really messing with her. What you want to do, bruh? Yeah, I'm still here. Still sounds bad. Okay, I haven't done anything, so okay. I'll keep rolling if you want. Okay, cool. All right. So the next joke. God had asked, "What did you do with that big brain of yours that I gave you?" The smart guy says, "I saved humanity." God asks, "Well, how'd you do that?" The smarty guy, he says, "I dropped a giant alien squid on New York, and everybody was so afraid of it they stopped being afraid of each other." That's in reference to the first episode, when the squid fall from the sky every so often. That's Ozymandias. He did that. Once again, you had to read the comics to get that part of it because that was not in the movie. Okay, so then God asks, "Well, how many people did you kill?" The guy says, 3 million, give or take. God says, "Well, God, Christ, you're a fucking monster." And the smart guy says, "Well, no, I'm not." So then God snaps his fingers and sends the smart guy to hell. Okay. Now, hell for Ozymandias is purgatory. And I'll break that down why he's in purgatory. Well, at least my theory that he's in purgatory. All right. So then getting back to Blake. Blake Check goes to a warehouse where they are housing 7th Cavalry suspects in his interrogation site. Okay. So then she's looking for a looking glass. She talks to Looking Glass. Blake gets the rundown on the pod's operation. She calls it a racist detector. So what happens is certain images are displayed in front of the suspect, and Looking Glass looks for visual cues for responses to certain stigma or stimuli. They indicate either a negative or positive response to said images. Okay. So then, all right. Okay, so get back to another joke, just that quick, because I mean this episode moves kind of quick. God asks Blue God. This is a reference to Dr. Manhattan. He says, "What have you done with these gifts?" Blue God says, She says, "Fell in love with a woman, walked across the sun, fell in love with another woman, stopped the Vietnam War, and stopped giving a shit about humanity." That is how Blake sees Dr. Manhattan. Okay, so then God sighs and asks, "Well, how many people did you kill?" Blue God says, "Live body, dead body have the same number of particles, so it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter how I answer because you're sending me to hell anyway." Well, God asks in response, "Well, how do you know?" He says, Blue God responds, "Because I'm already there." Then God snaps his fingers and sends the Blue God to hell. Now we're at the funeral for we're at the funeral for Chief Judd. All right. So then Petey and Blake are there. They had to give up their guns. Judd is carried at the waist. He did not die in good standing in this for this character. Blake finds Angela, which is Sister Knight. Okay. Blake asks Angela, "Can you tell the difference between a masked cop and a vigilante?" Angela says no. Blake says, "Me neither." Angela gives her the eulogy. She sings a song called "The Last Roundup." They start clapping. Blake leads the clap for the song. Then a 7th Cavalry member busts in with the bomb strapped himself. All right, crashes the funeral and declares Senator Kane a race traitor and tells him to give himself up to be a hostage. So as Senator Kane decides to give himself up to be a hostage to save everybody, Blake pulls out a gun, shoots a suspect in the head. Now, the man just said it's a bomb strapped to his heart, his chest. So once the heartbeat stops, the bomb explodes. So then when they hear the ticking, the heartbeat pulse starting to slow down, Angela grabs the body, throws it in the grave site, and then pushes the casket on top of the of the of the bomb victim. Right? Everyone's trying to they're running for cover. The bomb explodes, blows the casket to shit. All right. So then Angela and Blake are just exchanging glances. All right. So we cut to Ozymandias. Most important part in this whole particular, second most important part. Cut to Ozymandias. He is listening to a reggae song. There's a blueprints strewn about, and he's making makeshift devices. He's clearly making a spacesuit. It's clear to this day he's making a spacesuit. Okay. So then he tests he uses one of his clone workers because they're clones. Okay, the people that serve him, they keep calling him master. They're clones. That is what they are. All right. He sends one up in the space to test his makeshift suit. Comes back frozen. Okay, to see how high he can go. So obviously, Dr. Manhattan has placed Ozymandias in a form of purgatory. Now, we don't know if the purgatory is located on Mars or located on Earth. Either way, Ozymandias has figured out he needs to basically break through the dome for freedom. All right. So then, on his way back to the house, Ozymandias shoots a buffalo with a bow and arrow. He goes to skin it. Gunfire rings out. The game warden shoots a shot at his foot. Ozymandias stops and then retreats. Okay, so then Ozymandias gets a letter from the game warden. It says, "We agreed upon terms of your captivity." So I let you know he's a prisoner. It says your recent behaviors indicate intentions to violate those terms. If this behavior continues, you will face grave consequences, and consequences is underlined. Okay. The next shot I fire will not be at your feet. Signed, the game warden. Thank you for the delicious tomatoes. Ozymandias has the maid type a letter in response, saying that to the game warden, his intent was purely recreational and agreed to the terms and conditions. As he prepares to go hunting at midnight, Ozymandias puts on his uniform. And when he put on his uniform, did you notice the eye and the triangle on his chest plate? Okay, clear signs here. All right, moving on to the press conference after the funeral attempt. Okay, press conference. Senator Kane gives credit to the law enforcement. The reporter asks, "What about the Russians building an intrinsic field generator?" Okay, so of course, for all the people that missed all that, the intrinsic field generator is the device that created Dr. Manhattan in the movie. Okay, so now the Russians have built one and they're trying to create their own version of Dr. Manhattan. That's what that reference is. Okay, so then. Okay, so then Senator Kane responds, Russians are not his problem. The 7th Cavalry is. All right. So then Blake meets Angela at a crime scene at the mausoleum later on that night. Blake questions why they buried Judge so fast. She tells Angela they were going to exhume the body the next day anyway. Blake says she saw wheelchair tracks at the tree to where Judge was hung on, and she says she found his secret compartment. Blake asks Angela, "Oh, we got a caller already? Whoa, caller, what's happening?"
Oh yeah, what's up? It's Taku Brown.
My man.
I just put up something in the comments or whatever. You was in the middle of cooking. I didn't want to stop you and shit, but bruh, the shit you been doing with these films, I done watched them all. This shit is fucking bananas, man. Peace to you, Cindy Ashby, on the Wake Up family, man. How much you doing? These movies is crazy.
That's what's. I appreciate that. That's what's up. What's on your mind tonight?
Nah, what was on my mind? I just came up in here chilling with the children, but then you was cooking. I'm like, I'm not gonna cut you off while you in the middle of cooking. But every movie you done said, I done watched them shits again, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
This shit is fucking whack.
Yeah.
Short reader, poltergeist smoke with the poltergeist shit. Definitely watch Eli. That shit's great.
I keep hearing about it.
I'm like, man, listen, you ain't wrong about nothing you spit, and keep doing the good work. Once I get some bread, I'm gonna break the bread with you, fam.
My man, I appreciate that, my man, all day. That's my man Teku Brown in the house. All right, awesome. Oh, okay, back to cooking. Where did I leave? Oh, is there a museum? Okay, So this is where you learn Lori Blake's who her real identity is. Okay, so once again, but I have the kind of the foresight of knowing because I watched the movie and I read the comics as well. So for the newbies that don't understand, that's following me. Okay, here we go. So then Blake says she tells Angela she found his secret compartment. Blake asks Angela what was in it. Angela denies. She plays dumb. Blake says the wife said you were the only person in the bedroom since he died, and says she's not the fainting type. All right, so she knows Angela's full of shit, and she also knows she's Sister Night as well. Okay, and she said there was a bust, but there's something missing. Outfit could have been anything. She was just guessing, but there's a bust. You know where the clan outfit was hanging on. Okay, that's the only thing that was left was the bust. She says men with secret yes sir. Yeah, I can hear you. Are you serious right now? Ra. Hello? Hello? Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna call you back. I apologize for all the technical difficulties, people. Somebody's been on my ass the last week. So hold on. Rob, I'm gonna call you back. Okay, I'm gonna call Rob back. We'll try it again. I'm sorry, YouTube, y'all. I'm sorry, YouTube world. Calling. Here we go. Yes, sir. We good? Okay. Yeah, go ahead and cue me in. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm ready. Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Sorry, y'all. It's been one of those days. All right. So Blake tells Angela, yes, men with secret compartments who end up hanging from trees see themselves as the good guys, and those who protect them see them as good too. She then tells Angela, calls her Sister Night. She says, I eat good guys for breakfast. Now, when in the movie, when the comedian was killed by Ozymandias, he was thrown out the window. They found a secret compartment in his closet, and that's how they knew he was one of the Watchmen. Okay, so when she tells Angela, "Yeah, my daddy had a secret compartment too," that lets you know that she is the daughter of the comedian Silver Spectre is. Okay, that's where the glove comes in, because if you remember in the movie, she wore gloves. All right, so hopefully I pieced it all together for everybody that's kind of clueless at this point. All right, so then the final joke of this episode: a woman is waiting. God says, "Where are you hiding?" Woman says, "I was standing behind all the other guys." God asks, "Well, did I give you a talent?" The woman says, "No." God says, "Well, I don't know who you are." Woman says, "I am the little girl who threw the brick in the air." Pause. Okay, remember from the first joke in the beginning of the episode. So then Petey goes to Blake's room. They have sex. And then God's back to the joke. God sees the brick before it hits him in the head. God is dead. And where does God go when he's dead? He too goes to hell. So as Blake tells Manhattan on the phone, because she's leaving a voicemail, she tells Manhattan, "You never had a sense of humor. And you're not going to hear this anyway." She says, "The assholes down here still think you give a shit, even though you've been living on another planet for 30 years, and we're not worth giving a shit anyway." She hangs up the phone. It says the voicemail message will reach Mars in 40 seconds. Okay. As Blake walks away from the phone booth, her car falls from the sky. Blake looks up at Mars and starts laughing. Dr. Manhattan is coming. Dr. Manhattan has a sense of humor. Did y'all catch all that? Did it go everybody's heads? This was a deep episode. Highly Masonic. All my Masons in the house. Did y'all understand what I just told y'all? All right. This is why this is my favorite show. Listen, I don't care to ever see Regina King on another episode moving forward. I don't even care if I don't see her. Okay, that's how much I like the other characters and the way this show is going. But we digress. We keep pushing. So now let's move on to our next or our first actual movie breakdown for the night. It is a doozy. Haitians, this one's for y'all. Sac passe, Haitian people stand up. This is for y'all. The Serpent and the Rainbow, 1992. Yes. Inspired by a true story. All right. So in the beginning, it says, in Legends of Voodoo, the serpent is a symbol of the earth. The rainbow is a symbol of heaven. Between these two, all creatures must live and die. But because he has a soul, man can be trapped in a terrible place where death is only the beginning. So let's get into this movie. All right. Go circa at Haiti, 1978. A coffin is being fashioned and taken by gangsters to a funeral procession. The coffin is set on fire and walked through the streets. A doctor examines a dead man, and I'm using quotes when I say dead. His body is being buried, but the man isn't dead as he sheds a tear while being buried. Okay. Fast forward 8 years later. We're at the Amazon base in 1985. Dr. Dennis Allen visits a shaman, Ohangu. The shaman gives him a potion to drink and passes out and wakes up being chased by a leopard. No, I'm sorry, a jaguar. It's a jaguar. A jaguar. And now jaguars are native to the Americas. Okay, so when people see like the black jaguar, it's really a leopard with spots. It's a black leopard. But anyway, jaguars, Incas, Mayans, Aztecs, the movie Apocalypto, the main character's name was Jaguar Paw. Okay, so jaguars are very sacred, very powerful animals. Matter of fact, jaguars are the smallest of the big cats, but also the regarded as the most fiercest of all the cats as far as their temperament, even though they're the smallest cats of the ball. Okay, moving forward, let's go. So then he passes out, wakes up being chased by a jaguar. He's hallucinating at this point that he's play wrestling with this jaguar, and then the shaman is watching him. So then next, a rumbling appears, and then a shaman transforms into one of the Bokar, which is a black magician priest from the Haitian funeral that you saw in 1978. This character is played by Zakes Mokabe. Old heads, y'all remember this dude? He's always playing an evil African dude. His name is Zakes Mokabe or Mokiba. Got the big forehead, got the crazy accent. He plays villains, like the spiritual villains, very, very well. He's the best at it. Okay. So then he begins to be dragged underground. He falls into a black hole, then wakes up again and is looking for his pilot, who is dead, and his helicopter is covered in holy talismans. Okay, so then Dennis begins to hike through the Amazon and begins to follow the same jaguar from before and discovers a road. He walked 200 miles through the Amazon in this movie, of course. That's why when he finds the road to the another village, he goes back to New York. He gets a call from a friend that works for Big Pharma, Dr. Cassidy. Okay, he asks, "What do you know about zombification?" He's given a death certificate of Christophe Durand. Christophe Durand is the guy we saw buried in Haiti, 1978, being buried alive. Okay. It says, despite he displayed negative pulse, no heartbeat, no respiration, no brainwave, no pain, no pupil dilations, he was buried. That certificate was from 1978. Dennis is then shown a recent photo of Christophe Durand 7 years later. Dennis thinks it's an error. Dr. Cassidy says, I want you to find out how they did it. Okay. Dennis thinks it's a drug. Dr. Cassidy says, I want the zombie drug to save lives from anesthesia shock. They discuss the location of the soul. Dr. Dennis believes the soul begins in the brain. So he doesn't believe in spirituality like that. All right. So then Dennis meets Dr. Dujon. He goes to Haiti, meets Dr. Dujon, meets a woman who was buried 15 years prior, buried alive, named Marguerite. Dennis goes to see Christophe Durand. They're looking for Christophe. Dennis meets Lucien Celine, played by Paul Winfield. Paul Winfield, if you don't remember who Paul Winfield is, he was in the Terminator. He's one of the lieutenants in the Terminator. Paul Winfield, old school actor. He's been in every fucking movie. All right. They're at a gathering, right? Lucien is like one of the head spiritualists in Haiti. So his priests are seen eating glass and chewing lit cigars. They don't burn, they don't bleed. They're calling down Urzuni, the goddess of love. Lucien wants Dujon to dance, but she refuses to dance. She walks away. Then someone sprays her in the face with a powder, and then enters the Bakar, the same guy from his vision and in the Amazon. Okay, so then Dujon begins to dance. Dennis recognizes the Bakar. His name is Captain Fedad, a black magician. He works for Papa Doc Duvalier's secret police, the Totomaku. Lucien tells Dennis their secrets even Haitians keep to themselves. All right. Dujon is dancing under possession. Lucien tells Dennis possession is as natural as breathing, and a dancer becomes out of control. Lucien knocks him out. Okay, so they're moving forward. Dujon and Dennis go to Christophe's village. Then they go to a grave site. Oh, I'm sorry, a graveyard. Dennis falls into a coffin because he's scared by grave robbers. Dennis believes Dujon is misleading him. And then he meets Christophe. He shows up. Christophe remembers Dujon. Okay? Dennis asks Christophe to remember what happened before he died. Christophe says he remembered everything. Says the Bakar beat him with a weapon and took his soul. Christophe says he makes him do evil things and that he is not free. He asks the Bakar, he makes him go into people's dreams. Dennis wants to do a blood test and wants a thumbprint. Christophe says it's a powder that goes from the skin to the soul. Christophe then walks off. The next day, Dennis returns to discover his room. There's a dead pig on a cross and sigils in blood on the walls. He runs out, he escapes, and he returns to Lucien for help. Lucien tries to warn Dennis and Dujon. Lucien knows who makes the powder. They go to a man named Louis and settle on a price for $500 to make the powder. They test it on a goat, on a baby goat. So before they leave, Dennis cuts the bottom of the goat's hoof to make sure it's the same goat when they come back the next day, because he wants proof to raise the dead. And he wants to know that the goat has been zombified the next day. Okay. So Dennis takes a sample from the goat. They stay in the village for safety. Dujon tells her backstory, that she was given to possession at the age of 8. Okay. All right. Dujon then takes Dennis to mass. She says Haiti is 85% Catholic, but 110% voodoo. For them, El Zuli and the Virgin Mary are one and the same, and they follow a funeral procession up into the mountains. Dennis begins to have visions as a python begins to crawl over him. He awakens and is being spoken to by Christophe, and the white bride, the sorceress, walks over to Dennis and unleashes a giant snake on Dennis. Dennis then wakes up again, and the black magician has sent Christophe into Dennis' dreams. So the Bakar, aka the black magician, knows what Dennis is up to. So he's sending Christophe to psychically attack him, or in a spiritual realm. Okay, the white bride, the sorceress, she plays a part in this as well. Okay, now Dujon takes Dennis to a bathing lake to become cleansed. They have sex in the cave. The next day, the Totomaku have locked down the city. Dennis is summoned by the black magician. He tells Dennis that Dujon and Christophe are radicals. Dennis denies involvement. The black magician tells Dennis the U.S. wants anarchy, and this isn't Grenada. Now, if you remember what U.S. did to the Grenada in the early 80s, then you know what I'm talking about. All right. Dennis and Dujon go back to the man with the powder, Lewis, and proves his powders are fake. He drinks he puts a bunch of powder in the drink, drinks it, sleight of hand. He stole the actual powder, but it's a fake. Because, you know, of course, Lewis is like, well, who do you asking for powder? So Lewis is testing him to make sure that he's legit. All right. So then the powder man, Lewis, tells him he'll make the real powder for $1,000, but Dennis must make it with him. They have to dig up a body. The body they dig up is the white bride, aka the sorceress. All right. The same body that attacked him in his dream with the snake. Dennis and Dujon are attacked by Dujon's. Oh, they're attacked at Dujon's office. All right, by the Totomaku. The black magician begins to torture Dennis. The black magician tells him he warned him, tells him he doesn't want money and that he wants to hear him scream, and drives a spike into his scrotum and dumps him in front of Dujon's office. 3 days later, Dennis and Dujon are back at the site to create the powder. The ingredients are a sea toad, pufferfish. Now, you know, pufferfish secrete the tetrodotoxin. They need herbs, minerals, and human bone. The powder cannot be given in food. It would kill the host completely. The flesh would never rise to serve you. Dennis had to crack open the skull for a specific piece of the bone. The powder has to be buried for a day. Dennis tells the powder man that he wants to use the powder to help people. Because the powder man's like, someone wants to really piss you off. What are you using this for? You want to kill somebody? You want revenge, anger, whatever? He's like, not just want to help people. All right. Dennis awakens to see a body burning on a crucifix, and the sorceress summons Dennis. Dennis then sees himself in a coffin being buried alive with blood. Dennis then awakens again and has Kristoff's dead sister in the bed next to him, decapitated. Then the Totomaku busts in and arrest him for murder. All right. The Bakar, or the black magician, wants Dennis to leave Haiti and tells him that he was in his dream and that he can be in his dreams every night. The Totomaku forced Dennis on a plane at gunpoint. Lewis, the powder man, sneaks on the plane because he works for the airport. He gives Dennis the powder and says, look, man, just tell the people that, you know, I want to be famous. Tell the people about me that I helped you. All right. Back in New York, Dennis and Dr. Cassidy break down the powder and discover it affects the sensory functions of the brain, and the powder wears off after 12 hours. Dennis hasn't heard from Dr. Dujon in 3 days and wants to go back to Haiti to find her. Dennis is having visions of the sorceress. Dr. Cassidy's wife begins to eat glass at a dinner and attacks Dennis. Under possession, you hear the black magician's voice saying, Dennis, you're going to die. Okay. Dennis is immediately apprehended. He goes back to Haiti. As soon as he lands, he's apprehended by Lucien for safety upon returning to Haiti. But Louis was captured by the Totomaku, and he was beheaded. So the black magician chops off the head of the powder man. Lucien gives Dennis a protection spell. As Louis is beheaded, the black magician drinks his blood. Lucien tells Dennis death is not the end, then begins to cough up black blood before he dies, and a scorpion crawls out of his mouth and is then sprayed in the face with the powder. God damn. Okay. Before succumbing to the powder, he tells them not to bury him. He then sees the doctor. Okay. So, and he's in the coffin. He's paralyzed. Here comes the Bakar, the black magician. He says he's made all the arrangements because he's on the table. There's a doctor, you know, declaring him dead. So they're like, hey, call the embassy to get the arrangements. Here comes the black magician. I took care of all that for you. I'll handle it for you. So then he tells Dennis in the coffin, you'll feel the cold, and it's much worse with the coffin. He then shows him the jar in which he houses Lucian's soul. The black magician has a wall of jars of people's souls he owns and collects and makes them do their bidding. Okay. He then tells Dennis Dujon will be beheaded later on that night and places a tarantula in the coffin with Dennis to keep him company. The powder wears off. 12 hours later, Christoph goes to the site to help unbury him. He digs him up. At this point, Haiti is celebrating the ousting of Papa Doc. So the city is lit right now. Right before Dujon is beheaded, the people have risen against the Totomaku. They storm the police station. Their residents storm the station. The black magician begins to control Dennis. He can talk to him in his thoughts. Dennis is hallucinating and is attacked by the body of Lucian. Lucian then rips his own head off and throws it at Dennis. Dennis falls down some steps. The black magician attacks Dennis. Dujon breaks open Lucian's soul jar, and the soul of Lucian begins to attack the black magician. Dennis's spirit animal emerges. It is the jaguar. Okay? Dennis and Dujon destroy all the soul jars, and then all the souls start attacking the black magician. This is just like in A Nightmare of Elm Street when they free all the souls of the children that Freddy had collected, and the souls go to attack Freddy. Same premise here, okay? So then the black magician then explodes into flames. But right before Dennis destroys the black magician's torture chair, the black magician attacks Dennis one last time. They start to fight, and Dennis beats the black magician. The torture chair then comes for the black magician, and he's impaled with his own spike in the scrotum. The chair drags him to hell. Dujon and Dennis walk out of the station as the people celebrate the zombie powder. As the people celebrate the ousting of Papa Doc. And I believe he went to Port-au-Prince, and it's all over the news. So the people are happy. The zombie powder and its active ingredient, tetrodotoxin, is in the movie says it's currently under investigation, intensive scientific study in both Europe and the U.S. To this date, the process by which it works remains a mystery. The powder is also called coupe poudre. All right. So now there's some not historical facts, but there's some facts that go along with this story. Because the doctor actually went down there to find this stuff. Here we go. It goes. Okay. Of course, we all know, voodoo is voodoo or hoodoo or hoodoo. Let me find it. Okay. So voodoo priests, known as the Bakor, create a white powdery compound called coupe poudre. The ingredients in this powder allegedly can turn a person into a zombie. The actual doctor, he was an ethnobotanist, Wade Davis, traveled to Haiti to investigate the zombies and the zombie powder. Although different Bokar use different ingredients in their powders, Davis found that there are 5 constant animal ingredients: burned and ground up human remains, a small tree frog, a segmented worm, a large toad, and one or more species of pufferfish. The most potent ingredients of the pufferfish contain the nerve toxins tetrodotoxin. Okay. Several animals contain tetrodotoxin in their tissue. The liver, eyes, and ovaries of the pufferfish have especially high amounts of this lethal nerve toxin. Though regarded as delicacy in Japan, the fish and some of its organs are banned as food items in many places because of the dangers. In small amounts, tetrodotoxin causes numbness, tingling, and a not unpleasant sensation of floating, even euphoria. Okay. High levels of this toxin can cause death within minutes due to respiratory failure. But at sublethal doses, the toxin can leave a victim in a state of suspended animation. Breathing is subdued and barely perceptible by observers. The heart rate is near zero, but the person remains conscious and aware, though unable to speak. According to Davis and other observers, a person who is exposed to a certain amount of zombie powder containing tetrodotoxin can slip into a vegetative state resembling death. Shortly after the person is buried, their body is exhumed by a Bakor. Though the exhumed zombie usually suffers from apoxia, which is oxygen deprivation, the Bakar wields control over the person by continually administering a second drug, a psychoactive compound derived from the Jimson weed. This second drug causes delirium and disorientation, rendering the person incapable of normal functioning. In one case, a woman who was presumed dead and was buried in her family tomb reappeared 3 years later. She was positively identified by several family members and townspeople. After a local court authorized the opening of her tomb, which was full of stones, her parents were undecided whether to take her home, and she was admitted to the psychiatric hospital in Port-au-Prince. Because death certificates and other official niceties are rare in rural Haiti, and because burial generally occurs within a day of death, it is not implausible for a retrieved person to be alive. In 1962, a man named Clairvius Narcisse was admitted to Albert Schweitzer Hospital in Port-au-Prince with severe respiratory problems. After slipping into a coma, Narcisse was later declared dead by 2 hospital doctors and was buried shortly. 18 years later, in 1980, a man shuffled up to Angelina Narcisse in the village marketplace and identified himself as her brother. He related a story of being buried alive, dug up, and enslaved on a distant sugar plantation. Doctors who examined Narcisse and dozens of villagers and family members positively identified him as the man who was buried in 1962. Article 249 of the Haitian Penal Code states, it shall be qualified as attempted murder. The employment which may be made against any person using substances which cause an actual death, produce a lethargic coma, more or less prolonged. If the person has been buried, the act shall be considered murder no matter what result follows. That is a true goddamn story. That is The Serpent and the Rainbow, 1992. Matter of fact, let me read off some, I got some cash apps. Let me see. Give me one moment. Jervis, I appreciate it. Thank you, Jervis. Appreciate that. So yeah, before I get into this last movie breakdown, let's take a quick break. Because I'm thirsty as hell. And because I'm thirsty. All right, so I see I'm about 2 and 2. We still borging out. We good. Hello. Oh shit! Now you're breaking up. Yeah, bro. You're in and out. It is. They don't want it to happen tonight. Oh, the call just dropped. Wow. Cindy, you, they are really messing with the with the thing tonight. I'm just letting you know. It's bad. And the call just dropped again. Cindy, fix it. Do your fucking job. Okay, Sin, I can't get through the raw. Like for real, for real. They won't even let me get through. So let's try Wi-Fi. Yes, and I can't get through. So I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to call him back. Like it's not even letting a call go through at all. Yo, Jervis Horton, thank you for the cash app, bro. Appreciate it. Sin, what you want to do? Woman, I know you see me in the goddamn chat. Matter of fact, let's do this, y'all. Let's call Cindy. Let's do that. Let's call Boss. Let's harass her. Let's give her all types of hell. See what the fuck she want to do.
Hey.
What we doing, Boss?
I was just trying to find him, trying to figure out what's going on.
So,
everybody live in different states and shit.
Well, sorry.
But that's good. That means they can't all kill us at the same time.
Oh my! You know you're on speaker, right? To admit to crimes and shit. So
he's about to type me. He's typing. He's typing. He said nothing is showing up. He's waiting. That's weird. He said his phone not even ringing.
Right, and yeah, not when I try and call him, it doesn't. Yeah, I ain't doing shit when I.
Yeah, he's keen to see your number.
All right, so what you want to do?
Damn, you don't have a fucking, what's that number? You don't have one of those numbers again, right?
I got a Google number.
You have a phone number? Yeah, you want to do that? Like, send it to me, and then we'll do that, and I'll just tell him that, and I'll just rip this one down and put it up.
Yeah.
You want to do that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
You wait. You got it, right?
What?
You got the Google number?
I don't have it.
What the fuck? So you want me to give it to you to give it to him?
No, you give it to me, and then I post it so people can call the phone.
Oh my lord! Oh, you want the fuckery? Yeah, you want fuckery. All right, hold on.
What are you talking about?
You know you.
Try to call, okay, one more time. Try to call him.
No. You want fuckery? We gonna get the fuckery. We gonna get it. No.
Nope. I said Google number.
I'm about to give you the Google number right now.
But not the Google number you gave before, and it was wrong.
No, this is the ass. This is the fucking right one. Retard. What the fuck ever. It's the right one. I can't stand you.
Poor old lady interrupting her.
Shut up. It's the right fucking number. I just gave it to you.
Oh wait, you sure?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna test it.
You want me to wait till you want me to wait?
No, keep talking. Keep talking. I'm gonna just get off.
All right.
I'm gonna test it.
Yeah, that was boss. All right, so let's get into this. I'm excited for this movie breakdown. In honor of my channel being demonetized, I only feel it right that we talk about the movie that pretty much set it off for that certain agenda that's afflicting us all. Don't you agree? This is the movie that they praised Forrest Whitaker. They praised him in this movie. Okay. This movie was lauded. I remember this movie as a teenager. I think I was 17, 18. This was the movie. Okay. This was the movie. I was calling. What the hell? What's up? Oh, shit. What's up?
No.
What do you want?
I'm trying to make sure it works.
I told you it worked.
Okay, carry on. Keep cooking.
All right. Okay. Truth teller, I see truth tellers in the house. Brother, listen, man. I'm sorry for the last 2 Saturdays. That's all me, man. That's all my fault. But we're gonna get it. The Beatles are gonna get back together again for Saturday. Yeah, this movie, 1992. Let me see. Yes, 1992. Do you want to know what movie we're going to talk about tonight? I'm going to tell you. It's called The Crying Game. I say, yeah, The Crying Game. This is the movie that began the whole the black man is the face of weird stuff. This was it. This was the movie that they loved Forrest Whitaker in. Now let's get into it, shall we? I'm sorry. So let me get into this real quick. It's gonna be a short show tonight, but I'm gonna break this movie down all the way down. All right. Opening scene is they're at a fair, and then they're playing of all songs when a man loves a woman. Oh, you gotta love the irony. You got to love Hollywood. Hollywood and their games. Okay. So Jody, Forrest Whitaker's character, Jody and Jude are at a fair. They're being followed. Jude and Jody begin to make out on the beach. Jody is apprehended by the Irish Republican Army. Now, for those that really know, the IRA is not to be fucked with. Like, they are for real, for real. But anywho, this is the movies. He's kidnapped, taken to a safe house. They took him in exchange for one of their own brethren that's being held in captivity. Jude is revealed to be a member of the IRA. She set him up. Set him up. As Jude removes his hood, Jody attacks Jude in a fit of rage for deceiving him. Jody is quickly restrained. Jody is, once again, Forrest Whitaker's character. All right. The next day, Jody is taken to another building for interrogation. Jody asks Jude to remove his hood. He's still upset with her. He says to her, "I thought you liked me." Jody's kidnapping makes the papers. Jody is a British soldier. Okay. All right. So then Fergus is one of the main kidnapper here in question in this story. Fergus removes his hood and begins to have a dialogue. Fergus and Jody talk about the hostage negotiations. Fergus begins to go through Jody's wallet and discovers a pic of his girlfriend. Fergus asks Jody, then why was he about to cheat with Jude? Jody says he was set up. Fergus tells Jody his real name. Fergus takes Jody out to relieve himself. Fergus has to unzip Jody's pants and pull it out for him to be able to use the bathroom because his hands are tied behind his back. And they later share a laugh about it. Fergus is scolded by his superior named Peter for establishing a rapport and telling Jody his first name. Jody then tells Fergus the story about the frog and the scorpion. We know that story. I'm not going to get into it. If you don't know about it, I don't know what to tell you. Fergus then asks Jody the meaning. Jody says a scorpion does what a scorpion does. Jody asks Fergus to take off the hood. Fergus asks why. Jody says because it's in your nature. And Fergus removes the hood. Fergus and Jody continue bonding. Jude walks in and scolds Fergus, puts the hoodie back on Jody, and she pistol whips him for calling her mean. Jude leaves. Fergus partially removes his hood. Jody tells Fergus his girlfriend's name is Dill. Okay, rock with me on this one. Listen to me, y'all. All right, and and makes Fergus promise if they kill him to find Dill and tell her that Jody was thinking about her. Fergus is told negotiations have broken down and that they'll have to kill Jody in the morning. Fergus asks Peter permission to guard him throughout the night. Fergus tells Jody the bad news. Jody begins to cry and asks for help. Fergus refuses and gives him a cigarette. Jody asks Fergus to tell him a story. Fergus makes a Bible reference to putting away childish things. Jody asks the meaning and determines that he has no use. The next morning, Peter comes in and Fergus takes Jody to the kill spot. Fergus screams at Peter to leave him be. Jody asks Fergus to remove the hood. He doesn't want to die like an animal. Fergus complies. Jody escapes and begins to run. Jody tells Fergus not to do it. Fergus begins to run and is then run over by a British military armed vehicle. Fergus then runs off and the British storm the hideout and shoot down all the IRA members. Fergus gets a ship across the pond. Fergus changes his look and begins to look for Dill and finds her working in a salon and asks for a haircut. Dill asks who recommended him. Dill asks his nationality and they small talk. Dill and Fergus meet at a bar. Some guy walks up to Dill demanding a song, and then a guy slaps her as they go to Dill's place. Fergus follows. While Fergus sleeps, he has a vision of Jody playing cricket. Fergus has a construction job and later goes back to the pub just in time for Dill's performance of the crying game. Once again, Dill's abuser shows up and takes her outside. Fergus beats up the abuser. Fergus walks Dill home. The abuser follows them. Then Dill asks Fergus to kiss her to further upset the abuser. The next day, Fergus brings Dill flowers at the salon. Fergus takes Dill out to dinner. The abuser tries to run them over while walking her home. Dill invites Fergus inside, and there are pictures of Jody everywhere. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Fergus asks about the pics of Jody. Dill says he was different. They begin to make out, and Fergus begins to slide his hand up her dress, and she stops him and says no. She says she wants to see how he kisses. She then begins to give him a blowjob. Afterwards, Fergus asks, what would he think? Dill says he wouldn't. He's dead. Fergus asks, shouldn't you be in mourning? Dill says she is and kisses Fergus. The next night they meet again at the bar. Fergus asks, did he bring you here? Dill asks, what's your obsession? Fergus says he wants to look after her. Back at Dill's place, Fergus asks, why do you keep his things? Dill says she's superstitious. Fergus asks, does he tell you you're beautiful? Dill says all of the time. Even now he looks after me. Dill changes and they begin to make out, then disrobes, and then Fergus discovers she's a man. She's a man. No implants. No surgical enhancement. Just a full-fledged man. So then Fergus is stunned. Dill asks, you did know? Dill reaches to touch Fergus's face and violently slaps his hand away, and says he's going to be sick. Fergus runs to the bathroom to dry heave. Dill says she's sorry and asks, why were you in the bar? Then if you didn't know. Fergus leaves and has another vision of Jody. The next night, Fergus goes back to the bar looking for Dill. Dill talks to Fergus via the bartender, right? And tells Fergus to go fuck himself and to stop messing around. Later that night, Fergus leaves Dill a note. Dill shows up to Fergus's job site. The owner calls her a tart. Fergus says she's not a tart. Owner says she's a lady. Fergus says she's not that either. Dill brings some coffee and apologizes. Dill asks, does he care about her? Dill says, Dill says even though when he was throwing up, he knew he cared. Dill says she's tired of emotional abuse. Fergus asks, does her coworkers know that she, did they know? Dill says, yes. And Dill says, you can pretend. Dill asks Fergus inside. He rebuffs. He tells Dill, you should have stayed a girl. Fergus kisses Dill and leaves. Jude shows up at Fergus's apartment. Jude makes a pass at Fergus. Jude tells Fergus he was court-martialed and asks what really happened. Jude, the lady that set up Jody, she's not dead. She's back. Okay? She shows up at his apartment. Fergus then discovers Jude at Dill's salon and follows them to the restaurant. Fergus tells Dill to takes Dill to the bar, and then Jude shows up. Okay? To reveal that she knows Fergus. Later that night, Fergus is taken for a drive with Peter and Jude and is given new orders to assassinate a new target. Jude and Fergus do reconnaissance. Jude tells Fergus he's a judge. Dill follows Fergus in a fit of jealousy. Fergus refuses to tell Dill the nature of his dealings with Jude. Fergus walks Dill home and asks for her keys to the salon. Fergus wants to cut Dill's hair and wants her to look like a man. Fergus promises not to leave Dill. Fergus wants to make her into somebody new that no one will recognize. They go back to her place and begin to make out. Fergus says he loves her and then makes her put on Jody's clothes and go to a hotel. The next day, Jude shows up to Fergus's job site and hands him a pistol and tells her to forget about the girl. Fergus returns back to the hotel. Dill isn't there. Fergus then goes to Dill's apartment. Dill is drunk and wants Fergus to tell him the truth. Fergus tells Dill she has to forget about him. Dill tells Fergus he can't help what he is. They kiss. Fergus admits he knew Jody and that they kidnapped him and how he died. Next morning, Dill ties Fergus to the bed and takes his pistol and demands a confession from Fergus. Fergus tells Dill he has somewhere to be. Meanwhile, Jude and Peter go to assassinate the judge. Peter is killed in the process while Jude escapes. Dill makes Fergus confess his love and unties one of his hands. Jude shows up to Dill's place. Dill begins to shoot Jude in the shoulder, arm, leg, and in the neck. Dill asks Fergus, it was Jude that lured Jody to be kidnapped. Fergus says yes. Fergus sends Dill out of town and promises to see her again. Fergus looks at a pic of Jody and says, you should have stayed at home. Dill visits Fergus in prison. Dill says Fergus has 2,335 days left. That's roughly 8.5 years. Fergus tells Dill the story about the frog and the scorpion. And there's your movie. There's your movie. This movie was a really big deal in 1992. This was the beginning of making the melanated man the face of sexual perversion. But y'all don't hear me though. Yeah, that shit. There we go. Get off. Okay. That was tonight's movie breakdowns. I just yeah. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. It's just too much shit going on. Let me say this real quick. So for everyone that's been asking me about YK Osiris, now listen, I don't mean to sound like a jerk. I really don't. Please don't take what I say to heart or offensive. Okay. What did he say that you haven't already heard before? Why do y'all, and I don't mean all y'all, but why do some of y'all act like when these people admit to what it is, y'all act like it's the first time hearing it? Oh, we got a caller. Oh, shit. Caller was bragging. What's going on?
Yeah, this is Edward Bailey.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Hey, Slide, this is Edward again, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's been interesting that you decided to do that that review on the Crying Game.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that comment I made on one of your videos about that dysfunction.
Yeah.
Remember I put the Crying Game never ends?
Yeah.
Here's another movie that discussion about that movie Brokeback Mountain.
I remember.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yes.
You know about the two cowboys.
I remember that.
The thing that was so funny about that movie is that those two dumb wives thought the men were having an affair with the women, but they had to have an affair with each other. That
right.
was just thing that was just so funny about the movie and shit.
Yeah.
These women think they're so smart about shit. And the truth is right under their nose.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man, but this stuff that they're thinking that is new is not so new, man. This goes back to ancient Greece and Rome and shit. Yeah, where the men would meet their male lovers at a gladiatorial game and shit.
Right. Right. What else is on?
Man, it's just getting like weirder and weirder, man.
Yes, sir, indeed. Yes, indeed. What else is on your mind tonight, sir?
Yeah, man. Watchmen is pretty deep, man, because I'm up there looking at that scene from the second episode, man, and it's like, man, Vader's still like obsessed with Dr. Manhattan and shit.
Yeah.
While Dr. Manhattan up there thinking about creating another planet, another universe and shit, he never worried about that dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like he told him in that movie, he said, man, even though you're the smartest man on the planet, Vade, you're no more threat to me than the smartest termites.
Gotcha.
So what you're up there doing ain't really impressing me.
Yeah. That is true. All right, OG. Well, I'm not gonna hold you up.
All right, bro.
I appreciate the call, though. Thank you.
All right, peace out, Sly.
Yes, sir. Yo, that was that man Edward Bailey. I appreciate that. Let me get back to my rant real quick. The YSK thing. Listen, once again, what did the boys say? Y'all ain't heard before. All right. Like I said, I don't understand. Like, I appreciate like people asking me my opinion. Honestly, I don't. Like, unless they're children that have been into a contract against their knowledge and will, that's when I care. But for the most part, if you're a grown individual and you still think this business is flowers and candy, I don't think anything about what they do. I don't even care. But my point is, for those that don't know or understand, I would tell you all to research John Todd. John Todd was the original, I would say, whistleblower of the music business. And the things they did to him, you know, they set him up with charges of child molestation or something. He went to prison, got out of prison, and has not been seen since. Okay. So if you think they're going to do, and mind you, he was a high-ranking exec. He was one of their people. He was one of their people. So if they did that to him, well, what do you think they're going to do to some nigga that's on Instagram complaining about his contract? So I need y'all to kind of like really like put on your big girl pants and big boy pants and just really like for real, like seriously, like y'all ain't figured this shit out yet. So same thing with Cupcake and Sukiyama. Listen, it is what the fuck it is. Some people just have that side of them that want to see things for themselves, and I'm all for it because I'm the same way. So, but y'all asking me to kind of psychologically break down these people why they do what they do. I'm not their therapist. I'm not in their head. Don't ask me why you think they did the shit. Obviously, they have their reasonings for it. All right. So for those that like to ask me questions about people I really don't give a shit about, to be honest with you, I would tell you, look up John Todd. And if you still have questions about it after that, I don't know what else to tell you. Then maybe you should go back taking the blue pills or go back to putting your head in the sand. Don't come out where, you know, with real shit. Like I said, I don't mean it's like an asshole, but you know, I don't give a fuck about no goddamn YK Osiris. Like seriously, next or 6 months from now, it'll be somebody else saying the same thing. Someone else will be crying on fucking Instagram. talking about their fucking contract and their mama and this and their daddy, whatever the fucking. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. Now, if you want to ask me what the difference is, the biggest difference is these young kids, are not mentally strong enough to handle what they've seen or are seeing. I will give the old heads credit. The old heads have a more mental fortitude to deal with their decisions that they've made and the agreements that they've made than these young kids. These young kids ain't built for shit. Okay, these young kids see, flip out over menial shit. That is the biggest difference between the young heads and the old heads. You never seen the old heads flipping out like that back in the day, because they understood what it was. And to this day, a lot of them still won't say what it is. These young kids, social media is like, it's okay, I'm gonna tell everything and I'm gonna say it. It's like, okay, whatever. So that's my take on the shit. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, But yeah, John Todd. So if you want to ask me about YK Osiris, first thing I'm gonna tell you is John Todd. And if you still understand that, then it's just not for you. So yeah. A Banks, Bob Crane from the Hogan's Heroes. Yeah, they silenced him pretty quickly. Look, remember what happened with Randy Quaid, the actor Randy Quaid. They was messing with him in Canada. Like he fled the country. He went to Canada, and they were still after him. So I don't know what else to tell y'all. Like if they do it to white people, what are they gonna do? They're gonna do to niggas. So that's my little rant on the YK Osiris thing. Oh, also my final rant, the Eminem thing. So Eminem, it was DJ Kid, John Pope first. And what do I mean by that? Y'all remember back in 2001 when Benzino waged a one-man war against Interscope Records? He put out that tape of Eminem talking bad about black women. Yeah, y'all remember that? And what black folk do? They bought more records. They made him a superstar. At one point, black people were calling Eminem the GOAT of rap. How the fuck does that happen? So you think I care about him wearing a fucking a black mask 30 years ago? Y'all had y'all chance to cancel Eminem. Lord Jamar, sit your dumb ass down. We don't care about what he did. We had our chance 20 years ago to cancel Eminem. Benzino told everybody, if y'all don't check him now, they're going to whitewash hip hop. Motherfuckers laughed at Benzino. Everybody was so fucking scared of Interscope. Interscope had threatened to pull all their artists from the ads, from Source Magazine ads. Okay, it was just Benzino versus Interscope, basically. And niggas laughed and chose sides, and they went over there to their side. So I don't give a fuck about what Eminem does. He called black women bitches, called them nigga bitches, and y'all bought his fucking records. Y'all made a nigga a household name. So I don't want to hear. I don't care. This is why we done as a people. He was Jason Pope before Jason Pope. So it is what it is. I'm gonna get out of here and wrap this up. Thank you everybody that donated tonight. I think I'm just gonna keep doing this on the main channel. I'm not gonna do this on the backup channel. This is, I don't know, because I'm hard-headed, I guess. With that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Love and light to everybody. Hope you guys learned something tonight, because I enjoy these movie breakdowns. I thoroughly enjoy this shit. And then next week, I got to get on it and make up for it. Oh, got a phone call. Oh, it's just Cindy. What the hell she want?
To accept, press 1.
Girl, what you want?
Listen, so you didn't end, right?
No, wait. Do I need to take you off speaker?
Don't end. I'm saying go to just say peace, because that's how I keep your stuff in on all the podcasts. God forbid you.
You see, look at my face. Look at the camera. Look at your.
I can't look at it because I'm talking to you.
Because you're on an iPhone, right? Because you're on the iPhone.
Black ass engineer
Exact. No, because you're on a whack ass iPhone. You can't do two things at once on an iPhone.
I really can't. I can't. I know my iPhone's whack, but I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know.
So when you see me look in the camera like this, that's for you, okay?
All right.
All right. All right. You see who I work for? This lady's a fucking maniac. So yeah, with that being said, I wish everybody love and light. I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all have a good night. Peace.